So this is our rate in, rate out problem. This is guaranteed to show up on there. They do a problem like this every year. This one's about bananas. When the grocery store opens, there's 50 pounds of bananas there. So that's your initial condition. And customers start taking them. Now, be aware, they start taking them when the store opens. That starts at 0. And then this is the rate. And both of these are in rates. And I think it's pounds per something. Yeah, pounds per hour. They're both rates in pounds per hour. So this is the rate of bananas out. That's bananas leaving. Store employees start to add bananas to the display. So this is bananas back in. This is rate out and rate in. But they don't start adding them until 3 hours into the workday. So just be aware that doesn't start until hour 3. All right, and time is hours since the store opened. So letter A, how many pounds of bananas are removed from the display table during the first 2 hours? We want to accumulate removed bananas from 0 to 2, and f of t is the rate out. So integral 0 to 2, f of t dt, and we're going to type that in. All right, so that's math 9, 0 to 2, and then again, they're not going to give you a nice function. It's going to be something awful, so you've got to get used to typing these. So 10 plus 0.8x, close parentheses, sine of x to the third over 100, close parentheses, dx. Sorry, I know that's bad glare there. Here we go. So integral 0 to 2 for that, and then that's your answer. Make sure you do 3 decimal points. So 20.051 pounds of bananas. All right, letter B. Let's see what that one says. Find f prime of 7 using correct units. Explain what that means in the context of the problem. All right, so they're asking us for a derivative. I can do that in the calculator. That's math 8. And it said f prime of 7. So we want to put in this function, f of t. I'm going to type x, and then it'll be such that 7. So d dx, and then again, this function. So 10 plus 0.8x sine of x cubed over 100 such that x equals 7. So we're finding derivative at 7. So that is negative 8.119. You can round up, it would be negative 8.120. Again, I just always truncate. I think that's easier. Negative 8.119. All right, and then using correct units, we have to explain what that means in the context of the problem. All right, this was a rate out in pounds per hour. So it already was a rate, pounds per hour. So if we did a derivative of that, it's going to be pounds per hour per hour. It's a rate of a rate. So it's pounds per hour squared. And since it is negative, it means this rate is decreasing. So the rate at which bananas are removed, because that was the rate out function. The rate at which bananas are removed is decreasing 8.119 pounds per hour squared at time 7 hours. So it's negative, that means the rate is decreasing. The rate at which bananas are removed is decreasing. I didn't say decreasing a negative amount. The decreasing takes care of the fact that that was negative. Decreasing at this rate, pounds per hour squared at time 7 hours. All right, letter C. And that's hard to get the point for that because you have to say all of that. You have to say the rate was decreasing. You have to say the pounds per hour squared, and you have to say times 7 hours. If you leave out even one part of that, they're not going to give you that point. But you, and I'll go over the points here when I finish this, but then you will get a point for that. So if you typed it in right, you'll still get that point. All right, letter C. Is the number of pounds of bananas on the display table increasing or decreasing at time 5? Give a reason for your answer. Like, remember I gave you the problem about your bailing water out of the boat? Remember the it's snowing and you're shoveling and I had you compare the rates? That's what we're doing here. We're going to compare the rate in with the rate out at time, what did they give? 5 hours. So rate out is the f of t. That's this function right here. We're going to plug in 5 for that. Rate that they're adding them back is this g of t. We're going to plug in 5 for that and compare the rate. Which one's winning? All right, so let's plug in 5 for this function. We're not doing a derivative or an integral. This already is a rate, so you're just plugging in 5. So 10 plus 0.8 times 5 sine of 5 cubed is 125 over 100. You could type 5 cubed. That's 125 over 100. All right. So that is 13.795. So that is the rate at which the bananas are being taken. Pounds per hour. And then we're going to plug 5 into this function. That's the rate at which the employees are adding them back. So 3 plus 2.4 ln 5 squared is 25 plus 2 times 5 is 10. All right, and we get 11.532 pounds per hour. All right, and so the question was, let me go back to this because I have such little room to show you guys anything. The question was, is the amount of bananas increasing or decreasing? Well, they're being taken faster than they're being added back, so the amount would be decreasing. So the amount of bananas is decreasing at time 5 hours because f of 5 is greater than g of 5, or however you wanted to put that in your own words, but you have to compare these somehow. The rate out is greater than the rate in at that time. All right, and then part D, how many pounds of bananas are there at time 8? All right, that's just how many bananas are there. We want to accumulate bananas. All right, you have to take what you started with, which way back here in the beginning, they told us we started with 50 pounds of bananas. You start with 50. We're going to subtract what got taken, and then we're going to add back what the employees added to the table. And what time did they say? At time 8. All right, so we want to subtract off bananas that got removed from 0 to 8. So that's the f of t function. So we started with 50. We're going to subtract off however many bananas got taken from 0 to 8. And then we're going to add back what the employees added to the table. But it's not 0 to 8. You have to be really, really careful. They didn't start adding them back until 3 hours into the day. So it's from 3 to 8 for g of t dt. All right, and then we're going to have to type this message. I feel like that's tricky. I feel like if you were hurrying, you'd probably just put 0 to 8 for both of them. And I get why that would happen, but that would not give you the right answer. All right, so 50 minus integral from 0 to 8 of the f of t function. So that was 10 plus 0.8x sine of x cubed over 100 dx. And then plus another integral 3 to 8 of the g of t function. 3 plus 2.4 ln x squared plus 2x dx. And this gives us the actual amount of bananas at that time. So at time 8 hours, there are 23.347 pounds of bananas. All right, points for this one. Part A, you get a point for the, oh, I forgot a dt. They would still give it to you without the dt though, as long as you had set up an integral. All right, so you get a point for the integral and you get a point for the answer. If you didn't put pounds, you still get a point because they did not say indicate units of measure. So if you didn't put these pounds, you would still get a point because they weren't real specific about it. For part B, you get a point for that rate and then a point for the explanation. Again, that's a tough point to get because if you leave off this at times 7 hours, they won't give it to you. You know, if you leave off any one part of that, like you have to put the whole thing to get the point. All right, here it's a point for considering these rates. If you didn't write pounds per hour, you still get a point. But if you compared the rate into the rate out, you get a point. And then it's a point for this explanation. And again, you have to do a comparison in some capacity. They're asking you to compare the rate in with the rate out. All right, and then here you get a point for this integral, a point for this integral, and then a point for the answer. And again, if you did not write pounds, you would still get the point. because they did not say indicate unit of measure. But if you wrote 23.34, you would not get the point. Like they won't give it to you unless you have 3 decimal points. So make